Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender in Europe, game designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games. This is the German Diplomatic Disaster series. This will be the April and May 1942 turns in this video. And we'll just go ahead and bring up the boxes and start off. So nobody bothers to declare war. We're doing economy here. Oops, not turn track, national tracks. Germany is down a factory, so we're down 2, so we're only going to have 26 this turn. The Russians have 28, and the British have 22. And that takes care of economies. We're going to strategic warfare. Germans are at 0, Russians are at 2. And nobody played anything. I don't think did we even have anything to play? Oh, they both had partisans, but for some reason they didn't play their partisans to try and take me down. Anyway, I rolled a 4, he rolled an 8, so that chipped me off a factory. So now I'm up to 3 lost factories. And we go into the west, and this is where he plays the partisans. It just says, we're going to try and really stick it to you. I rolled a 4 plus 2 is a 6 is a 3. And he rolled a 7, so he did. I'm down 4 factories now. And then he rolls his partisan, comes back in 3 turns. So we'll go to strategic movement. And I have this infantry unit sitting there in Königsberg. And I say, we're going to have to move this guy. He's going to have to go down here to the south. And I put him down here in front of Odessa because it really looks like this line is just going to fold up and buckle. And I need to have something to slow down the Russians. The West didn't have one. Then he decided he wanted to go ahead and do one after I switched to the Soviet phase. So I stuck the airplane into London. And then the Soviets put the guy out of Velaluki. I'm not sure where. Oh, it just goes back. It just moves it back to that. I do not understand what the heck that was all about. Okay, and we got into Axis operations. I don't know that I did a whole lot here. Maybe we start with the airplanes? What am I doing? Oh no, I started in the south to try and get the 4th shock to move because we are in... God, I keep bringing up this... Because we're in severe. It's trying to get, something going here. So I'm, 1, 2, 3, 4, and halved to a +1. Rolled a 7, halved to 3.5 becomes a 4. Not bad for severe weather. And of course he rolls a 6 plus 1 is 7, 3.5 is 4. So I don't even know why I bother to attack him sometimes. I can't seem to get anywhere. So now I attack the shock army, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing as the other one. I roll 6, half down to a 3. This time he rolls me a 1. So that's a 2, so he's retreated. So now I'm adjacent to that. And I toyed with, it's like, if this had worked out better, I might have been able to snatch Velaluki, but I just don't have the oomph to push any more units. And now I think, belatedly, I set myself up to, possibly have a decent attack next turn, except I won't have the points, I don't think. Then I was done, so it's off to the west. And now he's in severe here, and so it'd be like 1, 2, minus 2, so it'd be 0 to 2, and he'd be halved. Best he'd get is a 3. The worst I would get is a 2, so there's absolutely no reason for him to do this. Oh no, we're in poor down here. I'm sorry. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -3, so he should be at a +2 to my +3. And he rolls a grand total of 4. I rolled a grand total of 6, so nothing happened. And then that was basically the Western Allies. They take this convoy that's got 3 sorties, put it in Plymouth, and he took the one that's in Liverpool that has no sorties and dropped it into Palermo, along with the 9th Infantry, or Garrison Infantry. So, you know, whoopee. And then he puts him into low supply. And how did he do this? He's playing games here. Yeah, he lets the RAF go into low supply and puts fighter command in supply, and then he plays games back and forth with low supplies to keep his sorties down on his convoys, which kind of makes sense. And I think, did we go off? Yeah, we're off to the Soviets already. I have no idea. I can't remember what he did here in April. It's severe over here. I think he moved the shock army into Veliluki and attacked with the other shock army, so that to there. So then he had a shock army leading, so that's +1 for being elite, and then +2 buddies was +3. I think it's +3 to +2, and halved. He rolled a 4, halved to a 2. I rolled a 6, halved to a 3. Sorry, hit the back button there. And then down here, he went after the armored unit, I think. Maybe. Same kind of thing, +3 to +2. He rolled a 6, I rolled an 8. So he's a 3 and I'm a 4. And I think he thought about this. I don't know if he actually does this, because it's -2. He's +1 minus -2 for the river and the swamp, and I'm a 0. Yeah, he went ahead and did it. He rolled a 5. Halved down to a 2.5, became a 3. I'm a 3. Halved to 1.5 becomes a 2. 3 to a 2 doesn't do anything. And pulled that infantry back. He thought about pulling that one infantry back and went ahead and left him there. And then he did move this guy up here, and they try a similar attack. It's -1 to +2. And he says, no, I don't want to do that again. So now he's just trying to put people in good defensive positions in case I get fair weather in May. That's what all this is, and I think he gets to a certain point here where he has to stop. Yeah, he has to stop there because he wants to make sure he gets his airplanes, and he has 3 points to build, an armored and an infantry. So he wants to make sure he gets them on the board. So he stops there. Get this out of the way. Through the no supply. Axis replacements now. This time the Axis has 14 left. Right. So I don't think they have anybody to flip this time. So it's just airplanes. Oh, that was a blunder I made, even though it was severe. When these guys were, go back just a little bit. I had these guys here at 3s. They should have just flown 2 sorties and took out the northern airplanes, because I still would end up at 3 and he would still end up at 4. And if I get fair weather, I can do him in better. And I just kind of missed it. I can't do anything to the ones in the south because they're out of range. But I really should have done the ones in the north, and that's just poor play on my part. But I do have 2 points left after I do my airplanes. And then we go to replacements for the west. I think they just do their thing over here. They do their convoy in England, and they play games down in the south as far as, convoys and airplanes and all that kind of stuff. And then the Russians do their 2 airplanes there and their airplanes to the north. That leaves them with 3, no upgrades. The Axis has 2 points left, so we build our garrison and our 18th Infantry. The garrison goes into Dusseldorf, and the 18th Infantry goes into Munich. The Soviets bring out their armored unit in, where's that? Smolensk. And the infantry unit he puts in Leningrad. Coming the paranoid Russian. And then we go to diplomacy, end of turn. Dun 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 dun. I got his submarines along with my tanks back this time. And then he gets his tanks. Russians got their tanks. And I think here we're going to... Yeah, he gets a Lend-Lease for the British. It's over there. The British also have... He put this in his eliminated box, and later on, I think in the next turn, you'll see me move it to the mobilization, because that's where it really belongs. He's supposed to be able to build it this turn. Which he will do this next turn. And we're in May42. So I go to the weather, and I'm like, can I get an early fair weather turn? No, I get poor in the cold zone, fair in the mild zone, and I stayed poor in Italy. So nobody declares war. And economies. Germany is really strapped here. They're down to 22. And we think that we missed the British getting a factory back. I'm not sure anymore, but we thought that was true. Strategic warfare. I'm +2 and he's 0. I don't know if he played his... Oh, we're in combat commitment. We both committed, so we're both going to be halved. I rolled a 6, halved down to a 3. He rolled a 1, halved down to a 2. 1.5 runs up to a 2. So he didn't lose a factory, but I got one back. So yay for me. I rolled a 4 for my sub. He rolled a 3 for his partisan. And then we're +2. I rolled a 6. I don't think we have anything left. Nope. So I rolled a 6. And he was nice enough to roll a 3, so I got another one back and clipped the British back up 1. And then we're to strategic movement. And what I did here is I went ahead and moved the guy that was in Dusseldorf, and that I built in Dusseldorf, and ran him up to Amsterdam. West didn't have one, and the Soviets didn't use one either. No, I think they were pretty much done with their strategic moves for the moment. So we're going to Axis operations phase. And the first thing I do, put it back over here. First thing we do is the infantry in Munich starts running down to Italy because I feel like I'm going to need more units there. And the next thing I do, I spend another 1. I spend a 1 on. I spent a point somewhere. I am trying to do this. Take out the 4th Shock Army. We are in... Oh god, I keep doing that. We're in poor weather down here, so right now I'm 1, 2, and 3. His airplanes are too far away. So I'm 3, 4, and I think I throw in an airplane to make it 5 minus 1. So I'm +4 to +1. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? I rolled an 8. He rolled a 6. 4 + 4 is 8. He rolls a 6 + 1. So I can't seem to win So I'm a -1. He's a -4. Rolled a 5, -1 is a 4. At -4, best he can get is a 2, so he takes 2 to my 1. I go after him at -2 to -6. I only got a 2. Just took him up 1, and I just ran him up. And then in the north, same thing, -1 to -4. 5 -1 is a 4. Best he can get is a 2, so he's going to take 2. And then I do it again at -2 to -4. I get a 5 -2 is a 3. And at -6, he's now can only get a 1, so he takes 2 and I take 1. So I finally got ahead of the die rolls for a change. And these two guys attack and highlighted the primary guy. So I'm +2, 3, -2, and then he's at 0. We go to combat commitment. He did not, I did. And I threw in the airplane that's right behind it. So I went up to +2 to 0. 5 + 2 is a 7. He rolled me a 1, thank you. So he's flipped, retreats, I take the hex. And that was it, I was done. Because I had so few points. I mean, I'm down to 16 already, just with those few moves and attacks. And it's like, 16, I gotta stop because I need to do my airplanes and people and all sorts of stuff, right? So went into Western Ops. I think he does his attack again here in the south. He started trying to move him. So he's... I mean, we knew we were committing. He throws in an airplane. So he's 2, 4, 5, -3. So he's +2 to my +3. He rolls a 5 total. I roll a 7 total, so nothing happens. So, and then he moves this guy up to be on the toe to just kind of stay there. He puts him in low supply and supplies other people. Or he was in low supply, so now he puts him back in supply and swaps his airplanes for supply. Playing lots of supply games, he's getting the hang of how to get the most for British points all the time. And I don't know why he activated him, but he moves that airplane up there and attacks me. He's at -3 and I'm at -3 because I'm German. He rolled a 1 -3, that's 1. I rolled a 5 -3, that's 2. So he took 1, I took 1. Then he flew this one up here and went after that one. He rolled a 4 -3 as a 1, I rolled a 3 -3, which nets to a 1, so we just took 1. And then he ran both of them up to just run me up. So that's it, we're done. And then he's going to have his attack here. Yes, these three guys attack. Two, 3. Oh, I threw in an airplane, so that's 4. And he threw in 2 more tanks. So he's got 1, 2 for a buddy, 1 there, that's 3, 4, 5, 6 total. And -1 is +5. And I'm armored and poor, so I'm +3 with no retreat route. He rolled an 11. I rolled a 7. It's good enough to just be a retreat. So he didn't quite get me. I was worried there that I was going to just lose the armored unit and not be able to do anything all summer long, because I wouldn't have any armor to fight with. So now I'm a 1, and he's going to attack with the shock army, throw in another airplane. So now he's 1, 2, 3, -1. So he's +2 to my +1. All he needs is a... Oh no, he's only +1 because he's the primary. He's the primary, he's not being added in. So he starts off at 1 and then another 1 for the airplane. So it's +2, -1. So it's +1 to +1. And I'm actually a +2 because I'm German. I shouldn't be a +2. I should be a +1. Why am I +2? I think we did this wrong. We did one wrong for him too, so. The heck? Why are we bouncing all over the place? I don't know what all that was about. Okay, so combat commitment, I believe. I did not and he did not, so it was... He rolled a grand total of 4, because he's 2 for each shock army, -1 for the weather, and I'm only a +2. So he's a +3 to a +2. He rolled a 4, I rolled a 6, so... And then he moves this armored to there to do an assault with an infantry unit. I think we go into combat commitment again. He committed, I did not. So he started off and he was... He ends up at a net +1. +1 for the tank and +2 for the tank adding, but -2 for weather and swamp. So it's +1 to +2, and he rolled a 2, and I rolled a 6, so that stopped that. And then he had 3 points here he had to replace. And he has 12 in airplanes, so that's 15. And 16, 17 to build his other tank army. So I think he stops either here or I think he moves one more army somewhere. Yes, you see there's the Canadian moves eliminated Western mobilization. That was where I found his army not moving, not being in the right place. And so he moves this guy out of there and over to defend the Net Mountain Hex. And 17 is what he needs to do his stuff, so he says, I'm done. We go to no supply, replacements for the Axis. I have 16 here. So I believe the first thing I do is I flip a couple of infantry units, or I flip the armored unit. So I flip the armored unit. Then I go flip the infantry unit here in Italy. And then I go do my airplanes for 12 more. So that airplane, that airplane, that airplane, that airplane. And then he's doing his stuff down here. Getting all his guys back to full. Russians are pulling down their airplanes. And flipped over his 2 units that were flipped. We go into mobilization. The Axis didn't have anything. Oh, this is a mistake on our part, I think. No, maybe I didn't. Maybe I got everybody in where they belong. He builds the 1st Canadian up here in Eastern North America because he's had an American fleet and convoy absolutely doing nothing since January when they came in. So he went ahead and put the Canadian there because now he can just use them to bring them into Sicily and use Americans for supply in Sicily instead of the Brits. So Soviets, they had one armored unit and they put him in Orel, I believe. It's either Orel or Bryansk. Bryansk, there we are. And nobody's talking. End of turn phase. Just a whole stack of stuff coming in for the Russians. So gets all his tanks. I've already done my economic reforms for myself. He gets a Lend-Lease. What the hell did he do with his Lend-Lease marker? Put it there. No. What the hell's going on? Or maybe it was Urals he got. It was Urals he got. Yeah, his Lend-Lease comes in July. And his tanks. So the British are up to 6 minus 6 and 6 is 12. They'll be at 24. The Russians will be at 8 plus 6 is 14 plus 1 is 15. So they'll be at 30 in June. It's just sick that they're at 30 in 1942. And he's got his 2 upgrades over there. And this was me. I had forgotten that when I get the factory here, I'm supposed to actually put this guy in this guy here, the conditional. He's actually supposed to go into my eliminated box at the beginning of June when I got the factories. So and we're in June of 1942. And we go to the weather phase, and I roll a 4, a 5, and a 2. And on the player aid card, you have to check. This is a little quickie primer on the new one. May was poor, so you have to go to the June poor line. So the 4 actually makes it fair in the cold zone. And in the mild zone, a 5 is still poor, so it goes over there. And then a 2 in the warm zone is fair. So the British are going to have 4 fair weather turns to run up the boot of Italy. We're at the declaration of war phase. The Russians are facing a fair weather turn, so I will have 4 fair weather turns in Russia. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. Because I had such a weak initial Barbarossa, he has very good position here to quite possibly stymie any kind of advance that the Germans can come up with. And that's the end of that. So there you have it. That's April and March, or April and May of 1942. The German diplomatic disaster scenario. As a quick recap, Italy came in for the Western Allies in November of 1939, and the Germans have been fighting uphill ever since. So check out the previous videos in this series so you can find out how we got here. And if you like my videos, please subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button. The like button there helps the YouTube algorithm make these things more visible to people who are searching for such videos as this. Until we meet again, stay safe. Bye-bye.